crash, which would be really nice if it didn't. All right. What's going on, people? So I realize that I look like I'm in the middle of an Ozark episode right now. Trust me, that was not the intention with what we were trying to do. I just got off a really long and exhausting trivia match. And I don't really care to go into the details of it.
Did you win, at least?
That's Chris, the TV nerd. Yes, I won. Thank God. It's a long match that I don't really feel like going into right now. So, Chris, we're trying this tonight. We've got a little bit of technical glitches. I realize that I'm not exactly in the best of circumstances, but we're still ready to go ahead with this because, if anything, this is an education lesson, especially for you. Because, if anything, I'm a little bit disappointed that you haven't watched this movie yet. Because not only to me is this the best movie of the last decade that we just got out of, which, again, is seeming super tame now compared to the first 4 months of the year that we've had to deal with in this new decade. But this is, to me at least, the film that is going to go down as one of, like, the classic films. Like, when we're living in dystopia and people are, like, trying to salvage through the remnants of previous civilization in order to try and figure out, like, okay, what are the movies to watch in terms of, like, learning what human beings were like before we were completely enveloped by the machines. I'm not sure whether we're going to go in a Terminator or a Matrix direction or some weird hybrid of the two, but it's going to be one of them. This was the movie that was kind of the last in a long line of movies that were kind of telling us exactly where we were going. And Chris, what movie is that?
Dom, this is The Social Network.
That's fucking A right, The Social Network. This movie, I had been hearing about this movie for years on end. I was unable to watch it when it first debuted in theaters, and I believe it was October of 2010. And when I saw it the first time, it blew me away. And when I watched it a second time, it blew me away. And I watched it a third time previously on New Year's Day just to reassure myself. And I'm like, yeah, this is the best movie of the decade. Like, hands down. I'm not even talking like it would be one thing if it was a good movie. It would be one thing if it was a great movie. But to me, at least, this is the best movie of the decade. Now, well, obviously, we're going to be talking about it. That's the point of this whole reaction. We're going to be talking during it. That's what these reactions are. That's what we do. Chris, do you have any thoughts, anything to contribute before we actually get started on this thing?
Well, I think it'd be important to let people know that this is your fourth time watching it, right?
Indeed, fourth time.
And obviously, this is my first. If you're just tuning in, this is my first time watching it, and all I know is that it's a Mark Zuckerberg biopic. That's it. I don't know and Andrew Garfield. Those are the two things I know. I don't even know the director's name. This is a movie that has flown above my radar, so I'm excited to. Well, I guess David Fincher. It says it right there. So now I know. But to let you guys know, this is going to be new for me. And it's also my first watch along. So I'm excited to have you guys watch me experience it firsthand. And if you're in the chat, comment and we'll try and read it if we can. But let's just have fun with it, guys, because I don't know what to expect. And, Wednesday, as always, another episode will be up. A webisode will be up. We'll be giving you our thoughts. So if you're here right now, then get excited for my postulation, my sort of stepping back and reflecting on it before we really dissect this in the more formal setting that we do. But this is like a first for the show and a first for me, so enjoy our reactions.
Chris, you remember that name. David Fincher. Remember that. I know how you are with your memory, but you remember that fucking name, David Fincher. All right?
I'll have to write it down then, but yeah.
You're better.
Cool. Well,
you're better. All right. So
thanks for being
here,
guys.
I'm ready to go. So
yeah, let's do it.
Are we going to do our little 3, 2, 1 countdown that we usually do?
I think we should. Hopefully people can sync up with it.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay. Starting off with a little rock and roll already.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Did you know there are more people with genius IQs living in China than there are people of any kind living in the United States?
That can't possibly be true. What would account for that?
Well, first, an awful lot of people live in China, but here's my question. How do you distinguish yourself from the population of people who all got 1,600 on their SATs?
I didn't know they take SATs in China.
They don't. I wasn't talking about China anymore. I was talking about me.
You got a 1,600?
Yes. I can sing it in an acapella group, but I can't
Does that
sing.
mean you actually got nothing
I
wrong?
could row crew or invent a $25 PC.
Or you get into a final club?
Or I get into a final club.
From a woman's perspective, sometimes not singing in an acapella group is a good thing.
This is serious.
On the other hand, I do like guys who row crew.
Well, I can't do that.
I was kidding.
Yes, I got nothing wrong with the test.
Have you ever tried
I'm trying right now.
to row crew?
To get into a final club. To row crew? No, are you like, whatever, delusional?
Maybe it's just sometimes you'd say two things at once. I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to be aiming at.
But you've seen guys who row crew, right?
No.
Okay, well, they're bigger than me. They're world-class athletes. And a second ago, you said you liked guys who were cool, so I assumed you met one.
I guess I just meant I like the idea of it. You know, the way a girl likes cowboys.
Okay.
Should we get something to eat?
Would you like to talk about something else?
No. It's just since the beginning of the conversation about Finals Club, I think I may have missed a birthday.
This is like one of the greatest openings of all time.
The Phoenix is the most diverse. The Fly Club, Roosevelt Punch and Pork.
Which one?
The Porcellian, the Cork, it's the best of the best.
Which Roosevelt?
Theodore.
Is it true that they send a bus around to pick up girls who want to party with the next Fed chairman?
So you can see why it's so important to get in.
Okay, well, which is the easiest to get into?
Phoenix is the most
My friend Eduardo made me getting oil futures one summer, and Eduardo will come close to getting the ability to make
Well, which is the easiest to with oil futures?
Also, Chris, I want you to take note of this. This film was like a perfect 2 hours.
That's cool. Also, could you turn down your volume just a hair?
You got it.
Thanks, brother.
That's the one where I'll have the best chance.
The one that's the easiest to get into would be the one
Perfect.
where anybody has the best chance.
You didn't ask me which one was the best one. You asked me which one was the easiest one.
I was honestly just asking to ask. Mark, not speaking code.
Erica.
You're obsessed with Finals.
I want to point out that this opening scene is like the opening scene for like what screenwriting professor should teach their students in terms of how to open a scene that introduces the character perfectly, delivers a ton of exposition,
Yes.
while also like completely setting up the tone of your
That
film.
was cryptic, so you do speak in code.
I didn't mean to be
I'm
cryptic.
just saying I need to do something substantial in order to get the attention of the clubs.
Why?
Because they're exclusive and fun, and they lead to a better life.
Teddy Roosevelt didn't get elected president because he was a member of the Phoenix
He was a member of the Porcellian, and yes, he did.
Well, why don't you just concentrate on being the best you can be?
Did you really just say that?
I was kidding. Although just because someone's trait doesn't make it any
I want
less
to try to be
true.
straightforward with you and tell you that I think you might want to be a little more supportive. If I get in, I will be taking you to the events and the gatherings, and you'll be meeting a lot of people you wouldn't normally get to meet.
Oh, shit.
You would do that?
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'll be watching this. Like I've watched this movie so many times now. Like I'm not even watching this just for the reactions to the movie. The lines are already amazing enough, and the score's already amazing. We haven't even gotten into the actual score yet. I'm just watching this for your reactions, Chris. I hope you know that.
Waking up with
You
me?
are going to introduce me to people I wouldn't normally have the chance to meet. What is that supposed to mean?
Wait, settle down.
What is it supposed to mean?
Erica, the reason we're able to sit here and drink right now is because he used to sleep with the door guy.
The door guy. His name is Bobby. I have not slept with the door guy. The door guy is a friend of mine, and he's a perfectly good class of people. And what part of Long Island are you from? Wimbledon?
Wait,
I'm going back to my dorm.
wait. Is this real?
Yes.
Okay, then wait, I apologize, okay?
I have to go study.
Erica?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I mean it.
I appreciate that, but I have to go study.
Come on, you don't have to study, let's just talk.
I can't.
Why?
Because it is exhausting. Dating you is like dating a stairmaster.
All I meant is that you're not likely to currently. I wasn't making a comment on your parents. I was just saying that you go to BU. I was stating a fact. That's all.
Savage.
Then of course I
I
apologize.
have to go study.
You don't have to study.
Why do you keep saying I don't have to
Because
study?
you go to BU. Can I get some food?
I'm sorry you're not sufficiently impressed with my education.
I'm sorry I don't have a rowboat, so we're even.
I think we should just be friends.
I don't want friends.
I was just being polite. I have no intention of being friends with
Under
you.
some pressure right now from my LS class, and if you could just order some food, I think we should.
You are probably going to be a very successful computer person. You're going to go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true.
That's the first girl that's ever actually said that and admitted that, I think we should just be friends is not actually a thing that anybody actually believes in.
Yeah, I like that. Was really good to establish the tone of the film.
Right?
So far, I'm on board with the casting, and we'll see where this takes me.
Bro, like I said, you're not even ready for this guy. And you call yourself a Trent Reznor fan. Like this score, oh my God.
This feels very warm. It feels very inviting, but it also
Right.
feels like there's going to be a lot of like heartbreak in it. Just the
Like,
color
the
and the
way that
music
I
is.
describe- the way that I describe this score was that it's understated when it needs to be, it's synthy when it needs to be, it's reverby when it needs to be, and it's completely pulse pounding and in your face when it needs to be. Like the score knows exactly the type of tone to set without ever overstaying its welcome. You know, with like kind of walks that perfect fine line. If you know what I'm talking about. You're a music guy. You know better than me.
Well, I'm only like 13 minutes in, but right now all I can say is I agree. So yeah, I do agree. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that for sure. What campus is this? Do you know?
Harvard University.
And that's accurate to the film?
Oh, accurate to real life, yes. Accurate to the film. I mean, I don't know if they actually shot it at Harvard.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like, okay, I didn't know if he went to Harvard or not. So.
Oh yeah, I have to throw back to our Sweet Life and Parks and Rec days. Bring the song of Rashida Jones.
There they are.
Yeah, there they are.
Dude, this is a great little sequence right here.
Bro.
All we are doing is transitioning from one location to another, and I love it.
And like the set design, like this is one of those movies where every single thing here we go. Here's the sit that kicks up.
Before it gets into something heavy, and we got to be a little quiet for a second. This feels like for the first time they're not trying to make a college campus feel like a college campus in a film.
Yeah, it just looks that way. I'm pretty sure
it feels like a college campus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they shot this. Oh no! Did you see that? You saw the name in the past who helped produce this?
Who? I missed it. Who was that?
Spacey. They reached out to Spacey.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, back then.
I go back to that one because he was in Fincher's first movie that put him on the map, I should say, in 7.
That's cool. That's very cool. All right, let's see where this takes us. Harvard, 2003.
Yep. Put it this way, I think Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are the only guys that could make me actually want to listen to their individual orchestral scores outside of the movie itself. Like, I don't think any other composer could make me do that. Not even John Williams.
It's interesting that it has that effect on you.
Right?
Curious to see where this takes us, yeah.
Erica Albright's a bitch. Do you think that's because her family changed their name from Albrecht? Or do you think it's because all BU girls are bitches? For the record, she may look like a 34C, but she's getting all kinds of help from our friends at Victoria's Secret. She's a 34B, as in barely anything there. False advertising. The truth is, she has a nice face. I need to do something to take my mind off her. Easy enough, except I need an idea. I'm a little intoxicated, I'm not gonna lie. So what if it's not even 10 p.m. and it's a Tuesday night? The Kirkland Facebook is open on my desktop, and some of these people have pretty horrendous Facebook pics. Billy Olsen's sitting here and had the idea of putting some of the pictures next to pictures of farm animals and have people vote on who's hotter. Good call, Mr. Olsen. Yeah, it's on. I'm not going to do the farm animals, but I like the idea of comparing two people together. It gives the whole thing a very turn feel, since people's ratings of the pictures will be more implicit than, say, choosing a number to represent each person's hotness like they do on hotornot.com. The first thing we're going to need is a lot of pictures. Unfortunately, Harvard doesn't keep a public centralized Facebook, so I'm going to have to get all the images from the individual houses that people are in.
Sketch.
Let the hacking begin.
But cool.
No idea. Remember, this is back before the time when it was normal to do that. Again, this is one of the many points that I want to just keep in the back of your mind. Everything that happens in this movie that is established at a time when none of this was really mainstream is now just normal.
Configurations, right? W get magic is all that's.
And by the way, if you didn't recognize the accents in the back seat behind this guy's part, that is Joe Mazzello, aka Timmy from Jurassic Park.
Is Elliot. They're also open, but with no indexes on Apache. I can run an empty search and it returns all the images in the database in a single page. And I can save the page and Mozilla will save all the images for me. Excellent. Moving right along.
Excuse me, everybody. You are at one of the most exclusive clubs, not just in Harvard, but in the world. I want to welcome you all to Phoenix Club's first party of the fall semester.
Yeah, Chris, that guy that was leaning down to Mark, that's Timmy from Jurassic Park, the little kid.
Oh shit, they don't have access to the main FAS user database, so they have no way of detecting an intrusion. Adams has no security, but limits the number of results to 20 at each. All I need to do is break out the same script I used on Lowell, and we're set.
Bob
Has no online Facebook. What a sham. Nothing I can do about that. Dunster is intense. Not only is there no public directory, but there's no directory at all. You have to do searches, and if your search returns more than 20 matches, nothing gets returned. And once you do get results, they don't link directly to the images, they link to a PHP that redirects or something. Weird. This may be difficult, I'll come back later.
Hey, Shark Week's up. What? Beautiful fish.
Leopard is a little better. They still make you search, but you can do an empty search and get links to pages with every student's picture. It's slightly obnoxious that they only let you view one picture at a time, and there's no way I'm going to go to 500 pages to download pics one at a time, so it's definitely necessary to break out Emacs and modify that Perl script. Done.
There he is.
Eduardo's here, and he's going to have the key ingredient.
Hey, Mark. Eduardo. You never split up. Did you know that? It's on your blog. Yeah. Are you alright?
I need you. No, I need the algorithm used to rank chess players.
Are you okay?
The ranking girls.
Eduardo's here, and he's going to have the key.
You mean other students?
Yeah.
It's such a good idea.
I need the algorithm. I need the algorithm.
Give each girl a base rating of 4.
Oh, my favorite track in the whole movie. Here we go.
Has a rating RA and girl B has a rating RB.
It's badass.
When any two girls are matched up, there's
Bro.
an expectation of which will win based on their current rating, right? Yeah.
And those expectations are expressed this way.
That's right.
This is a very different biopic than what I've seen, and I'm into it.
Right? I don't even consider this a biopic. This is like transcends the level of like what I consider when I think of a biopic. Literally, no joke. I think of a biopic as like Bohemian Rhapsody now. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, that movie was so bad it ruined the idea of a biopic. This elevated what a biopic should be.
So what? They invented Tinder?
Bro, like they
Like a weird comparison version?
allowed for what Tinder would eventually become. Like that's the thing I don't think anybody really understands about Facebook. Like without Facebook, we don't have any of the apps that we have. Like we don't have Instagram, we don't have Twitter, we don't have Snapchat, we don't have Tinder, and we don't even have like any of the other like we don't even have dating or other social networking apps on from this.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
Like
Also, that woman looks like Halsey.
the surface. Like right now, this is just a bunch of dudes just dicking around on the internet at a time when the internet was still really being established, right?
Yeah, so unregulated. I remember those days when I was little.
Like nobody had any potential idea or potential for what this could be, you know?
And this movie was even out before Tinder, so that's crazy too.
But like we give credit to the YouTubers who were smart enough to capitalize when YouTube became a thing from like 2005 to 2009. But really, it was these fucking guys. That like these are the guys who like wrote the rules on the internet. You know, like, these are the guys that basically control society as it is right now.
Yeah.
And like that girl's reaction where she was just like, "Oh, that's me," you know, and they realize that she's like basically being like compared to other things that she's like not even a human being. Like that is like I love the whole idea behind the internet is like women empowerment. But really, if anything, the internet is the biggest contributor in terms of like the dehumanization of women as people. You know, it's just insane to me. One of the many ironies.
We shouldn't shut it down before we get into trouble.
Hello? Wait. 4 in the morning?
Well, there's a very unusual amount of traffic to the switch in Kirkland.
You're saying it's unusual for 4 in the morning?
No, this would be unusual for halftime at the Super Bowl.
Oh, this poor fucking guy. He's like, I was just trying to get laid at a time when people could actually get laid by real human beings.
How old is Andrew Garfield here?
Andrew Garfield is, I'm trying to think, 83. So Andrew Garfield in real life is 26, 27 around this time. No, 25. He would have been 25 because I think he was 26, 27 when he was shooting when Amazing Spider-Man came out. No, sorry, he was 29. So yeah, he would have been 27.
The network's
That's the beautiful thing about being a college student. The age range for a college student is a lot more flexible than the age range for a high school student.
Totally. Just so people know, like,
Right.
in our chat, I'm a huge Andrew Garfield guy after seeing Under Silver Lake, so I was curious.
Like, put this in perspective too. Like, just 1 year previously, Jesse Eisenberg was in Zombieland and Adventureland. Adventureland was a movie where he had just graduated high school.
Make me look like a jerk. I'll be more likely to settle.
Why don't we stretch our legs for a minute? Can we do that?
Here we go.
Almost 3 hours.
And this is the trick, because this, even though the courtroom scenes are a subplot of the movie, courtroom are actually the main objective. And this is, again, really
somebody's lied under oath.
because, again, just from a screenplay standpoint, the screenplay tricked you. Because it made you think that you were going to be following a traditional biopic in terms of following the inception of Facebook, and the majority were going to be following it in the linear format, when really it's a non-linear format, kind of balancing back and forth the trajectory and the formation of Facebook and these court hearings.
Yeah, I feel you.
So that was a little bit of a screenplay mumbo jumbo, but
no,
again,
no, that's good to know. It's just a lot to take all in at once, but I hear you.
Aaron Sorkin, dude, that guy fucks, to quote you.
These guys are just freaking fast.
Is there any way to make this a fair fight? Jump out and swim.
The only performance that I will ever probably actually like Armie
Roll
Hammer.
forward and I could roll backward. We're genetically identical. Science says we'd stay in one place. Just rode the damn boat.
Now, Chris, I want you to see if you can catch the deep fake that they used on the Armie Hammer double. I catch it. Like the moments where the second Armie Hammer, the one behind him, leans back and forth, you tell like, oh, that's not Armie Hammer, but it's very early deep fake technology.
4 a.m. Oh, you set up a website where you vote on the hotness of female undergrads. What were we doing that none of us heard about this?
I don't know. 3-hour low-rate technical road before breakfast. Full course load, studying. Another 3 hours in the tank and then studying. I'm sure how we missed it. How much activity was there on this thing? 22,000 page requests. 22,000? Yeah, this guy hacked to Facebook 7 houses. He set up the whole website in one night. He did it while he was drunk. 22,000. How do you know he was drunk?
He was blogging simultaneously.
Wow.
You know what I think?
Way ahead of you.
This is our guy.
Cameron Winklevoss. Winklevoss. Cameron spelled the usual way. Tyler Winklevoss. Tyler spelled the usual way, and my last name is the same as my brother's.
Mr. Zuckerberg, this is an administrative board hearing. You're being accused of intentionally breaching security, violating copyrights, violating individual privacy by creating the website www.facemash.com. You're also charged with being in violation of university policy on distribution of digitized images. Before we begin with our questioning, you're allowed to make a statement. Would you like to do so?
I've already apologized in the Crimson to the ABHW, to Fuerza Latina, and to any women at Harvard who may have been insulted, as I take it that they were. As for any charges stemming from the breach of security, I believe I deserve some recognition from this board.
I'm sorry? I don't understand.
Which part?
You deserve recognition.
I believe I've pointed out some pretty gaping holes in your system.
Excuse me, man.
Yes.
I love this. This is like just the first moment of like, just kind of the sense of like, wow, how this generation, the millennial generation, like, he's on trial right here to protect the king at Harvard. He's like, I pointed out several flaws in your system.
Yes, sir.
And he's right.
Except if you had known what you were looking for, you would have seen it written on my dorm room window.
Yeah. The OK Boomer started here for sure.
Oh yeah, before Boomer, like a full 9 years before Boomer was even a thing.
And let me just say this: he got off easy.
Shut up. Like, I got off easy. He's one of the like 10 richest people on the planet. Yeah, I'd say he got off easy.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you do this thing where you manage to get all girls to hate us? And why do I let you?
Is it bad that I'm kind of holding the fact that like of Mark Zuckerberg's success and Eisenberg as an actor? Because like, I don't know why. Like, I can't differentiate the two. Like, Eisenberg is only ever going to be this role. Like, I don't know why. Like, I could be totally wrong, and I hope like he's never ever going to top this role. Like, this is the role that is going to define him for the rest of his career as an actor.
Assume page table entries have 8 status
Next ball
bits.
remove right here.
8 status bits would then be. Anybody? I see we have our first surrender. Don't worry, Mr. Zuckerberg. Brighter men than you have tried and failed this class. One valid bit, one modified bit, one reference bit, 5 permission bits. That is correct. Does everybody see how we got there?
This is the moment where he's realizing, like, why am I in school?
It's good. Funny. I've never heard that before.
So what can I do for you? Can I insult your girlfriends?
No. Actually, I don't know. Maybe never asked. Maybe she did. No. We had an idea we want to talk to you about. You got a minute?
You guys look like you spend some time at the gym.
We have to.
What?
You're a real crew.
Yeah, I've got a minute.
Great.
And Chris, like with like the 2 back-to-back, like you know it's the guy who's behind Army Hammer. That's not Army Hammer, but you can tell that like they deep fake it. Like that's not like a CG double. That like that is very early deep fake technology. And it's not perfected yet, but right here it's like they were working with like the best they could at the time.
I wouldn't have noticed if you didn't say so. Yeah.
And like notice like when he's wearing sunglasses in that scene, you can tell like that is not Army Hammer. That guy. I don't remember the stunt double's name, and I'm killing myself that it kills me that I don't. But like because you can tell in the wide shots where you couldn't
Kind of a
really see
no-brainer.
like they didn't even bother with it.
An app for an MP3 player that recognizes your taste in music.
Maybe you're trying to buy it?
Microsoft.
How much?
Didn't sell it, uploaded it for free.
The Indian guy, again, he's the guy that's probably not going to be remembered the same as the Winklevoss, is simply for the fact that he's not the Winklevoss. It's Divian Arendra, I think is his name.
You create your
Probably already fucked it up.
bio frame, and then people can go online and see your bio request.
Yeah, how is that different from MySpace or Friendster?
Harvard.edu. Harvard.edu is the most prestigious email address in the country. The whole site's kind of based on the idea that girls, not to put anything delicate,
Girls want to give them guys to go to Harvard.
Tia and my brother don't have trouble putting things in delicate. The main difference between what we're talking about and MySpace or Friendster or any of those other social networking sites
Is exclusivity. Right.
Right. Yeah, we'd love for you to work with us more. I mean, we need a gifted programmer who's creative, and we know that you've been taking it to shits.
Women's groups are ready to declare fatwa. But, this could help rehabilitate your image.
Wow. You would do that for me.
We'd like to work with you.
Our first programmer graduated and went to work for Google. Our second programmer just got overwhelmed with schoolwork. We would need you to build the site, write the code. We'll provide all the money.
I'm in.
Image, because that's still a thing that people actually care about. That part care about.
It was 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know what I said.
When did you come to Eduardo?
I don't understand that question.
You remember answering in the affirmative.
The affirmative.
When did you come to Eduardo with the idea for Facebook?
It was called the Facebook then.
This doesn't need to be that difficult.
I'm currently in the middle of 2 different lawsuits.
Did you answer affirmatively when Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss and Vivian Arendra asked you to build Harvard Connection? Did you say yes?
I said I'd help.
When did you approach Mr. Savard with the idea for the Facebook?
I wouldn't say I approached him.
Size.
You can answer the question.
At a party at Alpha Epsilon Pi.
What's that?
The Jewish fraternity. It was Caribbean night.
I love those steel drum beats.
It's not the guys like you are generally attracted to. Not really attracted to guys like me. I'm building an algorithm to define the connection between
What a line.
I don't think it's that complicated. They're hot, they're smart. They're not Jewish. And they can't dance. Hey, Mark's here. Mark!
I think I've come up with something. Hang on, I gotta do something that you're not gonna believe. What? I got punched by the fetus. No,
it's just the first the process. But this is the invitation for tonight. My first punch party tomorrow.
Andrew Garfield with his goofy fucking little dance.
By the Phoenix. Yeah. Probably just diversity. Just diversity. Just ride that horse until. What did you want to talk to me about? Mark? Yeah. So you come up with something. Yeah, I think I've come up with something. Come outside. It's 20 degrees outside. I can't stare at that loop of Niagara Falls, which has absolutely nothing to do with the Caribbean.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield is such an underrated actor. He feels so natural.
So, Chris, this is probably going to be the first thing that infuriates you, besides the fact that this movie didn't win Best Picture. Jesse Eisenberg got a Best Actor nomination, but he lost. Andrew Garfield was not even recognized for his performance.
Hollywood doesn't like him for some dumb reason. I'm starting to learn.
Oh, and we haven't even gotten to our boy JT yet.
Whatever you can visit, browse around. Maybe it's someone you just met at a party. But I'm not talking about a dating site. I'm talking about taking the entire social experience of college and putting it online.
I can't feel my life.
I know. I'm totally psyched about this too, but Wario.
Yeah.
It would be exclusive. You would have to know the people on the site to get past your own page, like getting punched.
Well, that's good.
Wario, it's like a final club, except we're the president.
I told him I thought it sounded great. It was a great idea.
It's crazy.
There was nothing to hack. People were going to provide.
And I love how he takes the entire social experience of college and makes that the entire social experience in general. But think about it, like just the way that people operate on social media. It's like the mindset. Like I'm talking like 6
project, and he was going to have to write thousands of lines of code. So I wondered why he was coming to me and not his roommates, Dustin Moskowitz and Chris Hughes. They were programmers.
We're going to need a little startup cash to rent the servers and get it online.
So that was why.
Did he offer terms?
Yes.
We'll split it, 70-30. 70 for me, 30 for you for putting up the $1,000 and for handling everything on the business end. You're CFO.
And you said?
I said, let's do it.
Okay. Did he add anything else?
Yes.
It probably was a diversity thing. But so what?
Why do you think he said that?
Gretchen, excuse me for interrupting, but whose discovery is this?
Sai, if you'll let me continue with my line of
They're
questioning.
suggesting I was jealous of Eduardo for getting punched by the Phoenix and began a plan to screw him out of a company I hadn't even invented yet.
Were you?
Gretchen, jealous of Eduardo.
Oh, stop typing. We're off the
I know you've done your homework, and so you know that money isn't a big part of my life, but at the moment I could buy Mount Auburn Street, take the Phoenix Club, and turn it into my ping pong room.
I'll let you know how the party is.
We recognize that you're a plaintiff in one suit involving Facebook and a witness in another.
Yes, sir.
At any time in the weeks prior to Mark's telling you his idea, did he mention Tyler Winklevoss, Cameron Winklevoss, Divya Narendra, or Harvard Connection?
Yes. He said they'd asked him to work on their site, but he looked at what they had and decided it wasn't worth his time. He said even his most pathetic friends knew more about getting people interested in the website.
These guys, meaning my clients.
Yes, Mark resented that your clients thought that he needed to rehabilitate his image after Face Smash. And Mark didn't want to rehabilitate anything. And with Face Smash, he hacked into the Harvard computers. He thumbed his nose at the ad board. He'd gotten a lot of notoriety. Face Smash did exactly what he wanted it to do.
Were you aware that while Mr. Zuckerberg was building the Facebook, he was also communicating with the plaintiffs?
Not at the time, I wasn't. But it really didn't have much to do with the Winklevoss' dating site.
How would you know? You weren't even there.
Were you aware that while Mr. Zuckerberg was building the Facebook, he was leading the plaintiffs to believe he was building Harvard Connection?
You're offering a conclusion not found in evidence.
We are about to find it in evidence. From Mark Zuckerberg to Tyler Winklevoss, November 30th, 2003. I read over all the stuff you sent me re Harvard Connection, and it seems like it shouldn't take too long to implement, so we can talk about it after I get all the basic functionality up tomorrow night. From Mark Zuckerberg to Cameron Winklevoss, December 1st, 2003. Sorry I was unreachable tonight. I just got about 3 of your missed calls. I was working on a problem set for my systems class. From Mark Zuckerberg to Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, December 10th, 2003. This week has been pretty busy thus far with classes and work, so I think it's probably best to postpone the meeting.
I'm also really busy tomorrow. Okay, anybody else feel like there's something up with this guy?
Tell him okay. But we do have to make sure that we meet up before we all go off the break.
I know. Yeah, watch out.
Oh, I can't even see. Was that Evan Williams or Jack Daniels or something else equally hideous?
Yeah, it looked like the first cheap thing in this movie.
Right? That's what good the production value is. And then even the cheap things look expensive in this movie.
Well, I just meant like, they're all these rich preppy kids wearing this rich fancy clothes and they're sipping like cheap alcohol, you know.
All the way, I just wanted this one.
Hey, Mark,
It's just good. It's just good contrast.
Catch you with the nice kilo back end. It's going to cost a little more money. How much more? How about 200 more?
Do we need it?
Got to handle the traffic.
Do it.
What do you think? Hey, guess what? I'm in the second cut. That's good. You should be proud of that right there. Don't worry if you don't make it any further.
I'll get out of here.
Second cut of what again? I missed that earlier.
December 15th, 2003. I have a CS problem set that I'm just getting started with, and it should be about 15 hours of coding, so I'll be busy tomorrow night.
I won't really be free to meet until next Wednesday afternoon.
Everything with Mark as a character is so
I've basically been in the lab this whole time.
That's shit about how more of
Saturdays I have to meet
the minute that they're introduced, he literally says, "Oh, I just need something from you." Like, he doesn't actually give a shit about him as a person.
Reads, this is John Harvard, founder of Harvard University in 1638. It's also called the Statue of Three Lies. What are three lies? Mr. Dow, the three lies. First, shit, take your pants off. I know. Mr. Safford.
1, Harvard was founded in 1636, not 1638. 2, Harvard was not founded by John Harvard. And 3, that is not John Harvard.
Who is it?
Friend of the sculptor Daniel Chesterfield.
Keep your jacket on.
39 days after Mr. Zuckerberg's initial meeting with my clients, and he still hadn't completed work on Harvard Connection. On January 11th, 2004, Mr. Zuckerberg registered the domain name to Facebook via Network Solutions. To the best of my knowledge, it had even begun.
It's giving me flashbacks.
Not to my knowledge. No.
Chris, I told you what I went through when I
Andrew
pledged my
Garfield made
fraternity,
the
right?
second cut of the frat acceptance.
Right? I don't remember that was the first one.
Have enough functionality in the site to really draw the attention and gain the critical mass necessary to get a site like this to run. We'll speak soon.
Oh, that's just a cut to get into like the actual pledging
This
for the
is the
frat.
first
Like,
time he mentioned a problem.
Yes, it was.
You sent
Got in.
36 emails to Mr. Zuckerberg and received 16 emails in return, and this was the first time he indicated he was not happy.
That's correct. You had 42 days to study our system and get out ahead.
Do you see any of your code on Facebook?
Sorry, could you?
Mark, did I use any of your code?
You stole our whole goddamn idea.
Fellas,
Match.com for
Can I
Harvard.
continue with my deposition?
You know, you really don't need a forensics team to get to the bottom of this. If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
I can't wait to stand over your shoulder when you write some shit.
You stole our whole goddamn idea.
February 4th, 2004.
It's honest. You guys are the inventors of Facebook.
top 3 lines. One of the top 3 lines from this movie that will live on in history. Bring it to the other 3 throughout the course of this movie.
Seen with anyone?
Yeah, that was intense.
And
To say the
if
least.
not, do you happen to know if she's looking to go?
What I mean.
People don't walk around with a sign on them that says something.
Mark.
And if not, you
I was always wearing those fucking slides. But where he's even running around with them in the snow.
Shit, that looks good. That looks really good.
It's plain and simple. No Disneyland, no live new girls. Watch.
But you're right.
Relationship status. Interesting. This is what drives life in college. Are you having sex, or are you? It's why people take certain classes and sit where they sit and do what they do when at some center. You know, that's what the Facebook.
Why, where one movie broke down the entire psychology that goes into every single plot and action.
You're gonna get laid. Meet a girl. Yes.
That is really good.
And that was it.
What do you mean?
It's ready.
It's ready?
Yeah, right now. That was it. Where's the masthead?
You made a men's day.
Yeah.
Eduardo Saverin, co-founder and CFO. Yeah. You have no idea what that's going to mean to my father.
Sure I do.
So is it going live?
And again, another brilliant irony that this pointed out, because this movie contributed to the actual amount of people who ended up not getting laid over time.
So you got emails from everybody?
Right. True. Very true.
Like, tell me, like the
Responsible
ratio
for the, I think, systemic breakdown of public conversation. Just
well, think about it this way: like people know just from common sense that the actual ratio of getting laid from face-to-face encounters versus getting laid with meeting online, like it's not even a comparable ratio right there.
Give me the mailing list.
Jabberwock12.listserv@harvard.edu.
These guys. They're literary geniuses because the world's most obvious Lewis Carroll references in
They're not so bad.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right.
Again, just doling out your private information.
You know, let's go
Totally
get a
normal
drink to
now.
celebrate.
Companies use it in order to force feed you advertising.
Mark.
Facebook makes even more profits from selling information.
Mark.
Totally normal.
Whatever happened to Cole Porter and Irving Berlin?
Valentine's Day theme. They're playing love songs.
Good point, because Cole Porter and Irving Berlin never wrote any love songs.
You should put your laptop away.
7 different people spam me the same link.
Can you see?
What is it? I don't know. I'm really hoping it's cats that look like Hitler, because I can never get enough of that. No, it's not. Ew. What? Hey, what is wrong?
Okay. Freak out of the highest form.
Right?
I love the crew boats going by.
He's like,
Hey! Calm down! 20 minutes! Okay. I just wanted to let you know that Zuckerberg stole our website. Mark Zuckerberg? He stole our website. It's been live for more than 36 hours.
Mr. Hotchkiss, Lori's on the phone with Dad. Yes, sir, I'm here with my brother Tyler and our business partner David. Welcome to the Facebook. The Facebook is an online directory that connects people through different social networks. You must have a harvard.edu address to register. That's right, yes, sir.
I called earlier. I'm looking for Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, sir. He's actually quoted a few times. I can read it to you. Everyone's been talking a lot about a universal Facebook within Harvard. He says.
Okay, things are heating up.
Silly that it would take the university a couple of years to get around to it. I can do a classier job than they can, and I did it.
Tell him Divya Narendra called.
I know, that's how he appreciates you.
As of yesterday evening, Zuckerberg said over 650 students had registered to use the Facebook.com. So he anticipated that 900 students would have joined the site by this
Yeah, Divya was just reading that 650 students signed up for it on the first day. God, if I was a drug dealer, I couldn't give free drugs to 650 people in one day.
This guy doesn't have 3 friends to rub together.
oh, shit, I think I got it right. Give me a Narendra.
Yes, that's what we'll do, Mr. Hotchkiss. We'll put all this together and we'll email it to you. Well, you won't be able to go on the website yourself because you don't have a Harvard. You know, it would just be easier for us to email it to you. I'm sure you're right. He's a good guy and he's very bright, and I'm sure he didn't mean to do what he did. Thank you very much. And Dad, I love you too.
This is a good guy.
We don't know that he's not a good guy.
We know he stole our idea. We know he lied to our faces for a month and a half.
He's not a good guy.
Okay, he never saw our faces. Fine. He lied to our email accounts. He gave himself a 42-day head start because he knows what apparently you don't, which is that getting there first is everything.
I'm a competitive racer, dude. I don't think you need to school me in the importance of getting there first. Thank you.
All right. That was your father's lawyer.
This is in-house counsel. He's going to look at all this, and if he thinks it's appropriate, send a cease and desist letter.
What's that going to do?
What, do you want to hire an IP lawyer and sue him?
No, I want to hire the Sopranos to beat the shit out of him with a hammer.
We don't even have to do that. That's right. We can do that ourselves. I'm 6'5", 220, and there's 2 of me. Well, whatever. I'm saying let's calm down until we know what we're talking about.
How much more information are you waiting for? We met with Mark 3 times. We exchanged 52 emails. We can prove that he looked at the code. What is that on the bottom of the page? On the home page.
I'm going to be hired as a Sopranos. Shit out of this.
Swapped open. Okay, look, we don't know. They wrote Zuckerberg said he hoped the privacy options would help restore his reputation following student outrage over FaceSmash.com. It's exactly what we said to him. He's giving us the finger in the crimson. Now, while we're waiting for Dad's lawyer to look this stuff over, we can at least get something going in the paper so people know that this is in dispute. We're not starting a knife fight in the crimson, and we're not suing.
Why not? I understand. Why not?
Exactly what we said.
He's going to say stupid. What, for me?
Say it. Why not?
Because we're gentlemen of Harvard. This is Harvard, where you don't plant stories and you don't sue people.
You thought he was going to be the only one who thought that was stupid?
During the time when you say you had this idea, did you know Tyler and Cameron came from a family of means?
Say it. Why not?
A family of means?
Did you know their father was wealthy? It's not important.
Gentlemen of Harvard.
It's not important to you.
Say.
BS statement by today's standard. Like, could you imagine anybody actually trying to crack that statement and having it have any sense of legitimacy today?
Consulting, if you say so.
Howard Winklevoss founded a firm.
This is all just crazy.
You also knew Tyler and Cameron were members of a Harvard Final Club.
Like, obviously, it's exaggerating because Aaron's writing it. Oh man, how crazy that like we're literally watching the origin story of the thing that would eventually like destabilize.
Yes, let me tell you why I'm asking. I'm wondering why, if you needed $1,000 for an internet venture, you didn't ask my clients for it. They had demonstrated an interest to you in that kind of thing.
I went to my friend for the money because that's who I wanted to be partners with. Eduardo was the president of the Harvard Investors Association, and he was also my best friend.
Your best friend is suing you for $600 million.
I didn't know that. Tell me more.
Eduardo, what happened after the initial launch?
Sorry, sir, would you mind addressing him as Mr. Savrin?
Gretchen, they're best friends.
Not anymore.
Oh, we already went through this on the... Never mind. Mr. Savrin, what happened after the initial launch?
It exploded. Everybody on campus was using Facebook meme. It was a common expression at the time. And Mark was the biggest thing on the campus. It included 19 Nobel laureates, 15 Pulitzer Prize winners, 2 future Olympians, and a movie star. Who's the movie star? Doesn't matter.
That was just the one campus.
It was a beautiful day, and I was in my Radcliffe dorm room. He brought that magazine up and he showed it to me. He said, "Look, it's going to happen to Alice. We've got to start now." And I said, "Okay, let's get basic hardware." Now, most of you think you know the rest of the story, but you may not. Getting into this industry, we're very humble. That computer on the cover of that magazine had an 8080 processor. Unless you paid extra for a 1K memory board, you got 256 bytes. So the challenge when I wrote BASIC wasn't just to...
Oh, the groupies, Brenda Song. Yet another example of the fact that David Fincher, or sorry, that this movie just didn't know how to portray female characters compelling. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I keep generalizing them, and that's kind of rude of me.
Yes. Christy Lake sells.
Brenda Song, and the girl next to her is Melise Zhao of The Vampire Diaries and many other CW shows.
They're living life, dude.
Yeah, man.
We can all go for a drink later, which is stunningly great.
That's the one thing I will say. There is a very significant difference between state school and Ivy League. Right there.
I haven't heard Facebook me since high school.
I'm Stuart Singer. I'm in your OS.
Oh, no, prestige actually did mean something.
Awesome job. Facebook. Awesome
Right?
job.
Thanks.
I'm Bob.
I just didn't realize
You know, I could
what
start with
kind
looking
of
at you
prestige
and
would
say,
actually.
I love these parts of biopics, dude. I'm sorry to cut you off, but people start coming out of the woodwork.
The speaker was.
That's how you know. Just
Yeah,
keep
right.
on your pace.
Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Shit, that makes sense.
All right, thanks, guys.
At least Zuckerberg, for the first time in a biopic, realized none of these people were worth his time.
Yeah.
Different than the rock and roll docs. The
Yeah,
first
that's
party
what I
they
mean.
go to, they end up trying drugs for the first time, and it's game over at this point in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
What? I said it's time to monetize the site. What does that mean? It means it's time for the website to start generating revenue.
No, I know what the word means. I'm asking how you want to do it.
Advertising.
No.
Well, we got 1,000 members.
Because the Facebook is cool, and if we start installing pop-ups for Mountain
Well, I
Dew, it's
wasn't
not going to be
thinking
cool.
Mountain Dew, but at some point, and I'm talking.
That's the amazing thing is that,
We don't know.
again, just the brass balls on these guys.
We don't know what it will be. We know that it is cool.
They knew they had a hit on their hands,
I'm not giving up.
and they deliberately chose not to start running ads yet. Generate revenue. Like if they started generating ads, like it would never be what
I'm
it is.
talking about the idea that I'm saying that it's never finished.
Okay, but I managed to make money selling pants. What is this?
What?
This.
It's called a cease and desist letter. What were their names?
Who?
The girls.
When did you get this?
About 10 days ago, right after we launched the site. Hey, the girls. What were their
They're
names?
saying the Winklevoss twins are saying that you stole their idea.
I find that to be a little more than mildly annoying.
Oh, well, they find it to be intellectual property theft.
Look,
Why didn't you show this to me?
it was addressed to me.
They're saying that we stole the Facebook from Vivian Arendra and the Winklevoss.
I know what it says.
Did we?
Did we what?
Don't screw around with me now. Look at me. The letter says we could face legal action.
No, it says I could face legal action.
This is from a lawyer, Mark. They must feel they have some ground.
The lawyer is their father's house counsel.
Do they have ground?
The grounds are our thing is cool and popular and Harvard Connection is lame. Wardo, I didn't use any of their code. I promise. I didn't use anything. Look, a guy who built a nice chair doesn't owe money to everyone who ever has built a chair, okay? They came to me with an idea. I had a better one.
Why didn't you show me this letter?
I didn't think it was a big deal.
If there's something wrong, if there's ever anything wrong, tell me. I'm the guy who wants to help. This is our thing. Now, is there anything that you need to tell me? What are we doing about this?
I went to a 3L at Student Legal Services and he told me to write them back.
And what did you say?
When we met in January, I expressed my doubts about the site, where it stood with graphics, how much programming was left that I had not anticipated.
The lack of hardware we have to deal with, site use, the lack of promotion that would go on to successfully launch the website.
This was the first time you raised any of those concerns, right?
I'd raised concerns before.
Bullshit.
Not to us.
Gentlemen, I'm talking about in the meeting in January to which this letter is referring.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase this. You sent my client 16 emails. In the first 15, you didn't raise any concerns.
Is that a question?
In the 16th email, you raised concerns about the site's functionality. Were you leading them on for 6 weeks?
No.
Then why didn't you raise any of these concerns before?
It's raining.
I'm sorry?
It just started raining.
Mr. Zuckerberg, do I have your full attention?
No.
At least he's honest.
You think I deserve
Right? He's just like, no, why do I have to give a
Do
shit?
you think I deserve your
Like,
full attention?
literally no joke. He's like, I'm the type of rich now where I can literally buy the entire room with my
So I have a legal obligation.
Like, I don't have to give a shit about anything.
You don't think I deserve your attention?
I think if your clients want to sit on my shoulders and call themselves tall, they have a right to give it a try. But there's no requirement that I enjoy sitting here listening to people lie. You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing.
Cocky, but I like
I'm
it.
not going to answer your condescending question.
Yeah, he's entitled to. He is the richest, one of the 10 richest people on the planet.
Just so the record shows, I hate him as a human being
12:45.
Right.
for the invasion of privacy, but I like his portrayal.
Back at 2:30.
Like, it's definitely something in, like, the conversation that we're going to have, like, just about him. Like, you know, like if anything, like, how, like, just what we value in people.
They want to have
You
drinks
know?
I agree.
tonight.
And he doesn't have those.
Yeah. What? Right. I think what? It's just a matter of there's a difference between someone's drive versus someone's initial personality, you know? And it seems to me, at least, that in more cases than not, the people with the biggest drive always turn out to be like, the most reprehensible people in some way or another. God damn, London grew up quick.
A couple girls freshening up in there.
Sweet.
Yeah, groupies.
Yeah, they're not low-hanging fruit anymore.
They got groupies.
They got groupies.
Mark, where are you going? Mark.
So I'm a few seconds ahead of you, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not.
Like 10 seconds.
Not even.
Can I talk to you?
Oh boy.
I think I'm good right here.
I'd love to talk to you alone. If we could just go somewhere.
This will be Erica's last scene in the whole movie.
I don't know if you heard about this new website I launched. The Facebook.
You called me a bitch on the internet.
That's why I wanted to talk to you. If we
On
could
the
just
internet.
why I came over.
Comparing women to farm animals.
I didn't end up doing that.
Didn't stop you from writing it. As if every thought that tumbles through your head was so clever it would be a crime for it not to be shared. The internet's not written in pencil, Mark. It's written in ink. And you published that Erica Albright was a bitch right before you made some ignorant crack about my family's name, my bra size, and then rated women based on their hotness.
Erica's their problem.
No, there's no problem. You write your snide bullshit from a dark room because that's what the angry do nowadays. I was nice to you. Don't torture me for it.
If you could just go somewhere for a minute.
I don't want to be rude to my friends. Good luck with your video game.
Hey, that was great. That was the right thing.
Right.
I apologize, right? We have to expand. Oh, Mark?
Is it mad about something?
I want to be rude to my friends.
Okay, we are expanding to Yale and Columbia. Dustin, I want you to share the coding work with me. Chris, you're going to be in charge of publicity and outreach, and you can start by getting a story in the BU student newspapers, The Bridge.
They hate doing stories about Harvard.
Somebody at the newspaper will be a computer science major. Tell them that Mark Zuckerberg will do 10 hours of free programming.
Why do you want a story in the BU newspaper?
Because I do. Now, here's the arrangement. Eduardo is CFO. And
Yeah, get mad about something.
Vice president and head of programming, and his 5% of the company will come from my end. Chris is director of publicity, and his compensation will depend on the amount of work he ends up doing. Any questions?
Who are the girls? Sorry, Christy and Alice. Hi.
Hi. Is there anything we can do?
Yale and Columbia. Let's go.
And Stanford. What? Stanford. It's time for them to see this in Palo Alto.
Silicon Valley.
You don't want any lunch?
No.
Fucking A. And now you're seeing where Silicon Valley got its inspiration from.
Yeah. She's flat. Rashida Jones to me so far.
Yeah, but Rashida Jones doesn't like have that big of a part in this, so.
You haven't watched The Office.
Yeah, I have. I've watched most of it.
Oh, okay.
Only seasons that I haven't seen of The Office are the second half of season 7 and seasons 8 and 9.
Oh, then I guess we just disagree on her as an actress. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I love her in Parks and Rec. She's awesome in Parks and Rec.
I really hate the Winklevosses.
She's one of those actresses that like definitely gives like kind of that one type of performance.
Yeah.
Because for the first time in their lives, things didn't work out the way they were supposed to for them.
You must really hate them.
He's expanding. What? He's expanding to Yale, Columbia, and Stanford. It's going to be the Crimson Smile.
Really?
Yep.
Well, it's like that cease and desist letter really scared the shit out of him, huh?
I want to hire a lawyer to file for injunctive relief and get the site taken down now. Every minute the site is up, Harvard Connection becomes less valuable. I want an injunction. I want damages. I want punitive relief, and I want him dead.
I want those things too.
Why aren't we doing anything about it? Because we're gentlemen of Harvard?
Because you're not thinking how it's going to look.
How's it going to look?
Like my brother and I are in skeleton costumes chasing the Karate Kid around a high school gym.
Cam, he's violated Massachusetts state law. When he goes to Connecticut, New York, California, he will violate
Harvard Connection. What the fuck even is that?
in violation of Harvard law.
There's such thing as Harvard law. Yeah, there is.
How's it gonna look? Like my brother and I are in skeleton costumes. Karate Kid around a high school gym.
Somewhere in this book it says you can't steal from another student. This is what
Oh, it's crazy. This is the one movie that actually made you feel for like typical douchey jock characters. When you realize that the fucking like nerd in this situation is a sociopath.
Olympics for this school. I want to meet with the goddamn president of this school.
Yeah, but these are smart jocks for the first time ever, so it's even
Right?
slightly more interesting.
But it's not just like smart jocks, right? Because even that sounds like a stereotype or like a cliche. It's that they're like actual like people, you know, like they're people who realize that they got fucked out of an idea that would have made them millions and would have changed the world, and they just want their due compensation for it, and they're trying to do at least what in their mind is the right thing, if there even is the right thing to do with this. Oh, here we go, my boy, the MVP of this movie, JT. Well, and Dakota Johnson at Stanford.
Something about a trombone.
Before she was before she became yet another in a long list of basic girls that got ruined by that really awful sex franchise.
I don't go to school.
You're kidding.
No.
Well,
I don't go to school.
Maybe in Taft Elementary for a little while.
seriously? You're not like 15 years old or anything, are you?
No. You're not like 15, are you?
No. So what do you do?
I'm an entrepreneur.
You're unemployed.
I wouldn't say that.
What would you say?
That I'm an entrepreneur.
Well, then what was your latest preneur?
Well, I founded an internet company that let folks download and share music for free.
Ah, Napster.
Exactly, like Napster.
Yep.
What do you mean?
Chris, you know Napster. You were on the internet before I was.
Sean Parker founded Napster.
I hate Napster more than Facebook.
Yep.
You're Sean Parker?
There's the guy that invented it. Sean Parker.
What?
Table, which is
Love that they got JT to play him.
I just
Yep.
like Sean
And
Parker.
JT's like, this is going to be a very controversial
You're
statement.
resilient.
I watch all of Andrew Garfield in this movie,
What are you?
but I think Justin Timberlake is better than Andrew Garfield.
broke. There's not a lot of money in free music, even less when you're being sued by everyone who's ever been to the Grammys.
This is blowing my mind.
I appreciate that.
I gotta hop in the shower and get ready for class.
Biochem, even though you're a French major whose name is Amy.
Like the only person that with this quite possibly.
There's juice or anything else you can find. Help yourself.
You mind if I check my email?
Sean Parker. You slept on Sean Parker.
Amy! Amy!
Yeah.
Can you come out here?
Just a second.
There's a snake in here, Amy.
What? Where? Are you kidding me? I could have been killed.
How?
By running too fast and getting twisted in the cart. What do you need to ask me?
I meant to check my email and there's a website open on your computer.
Yeah, after you passed out last night, I went on the Facebook for a little bit.
What's that?
The Facebook? Stanford's had it for like 2 weeks now. It's really awesome, except it's freakishly addictive. Seriously, I'm on the thing like 5 times a day.
Mind if I send myself an email?
Yeah, is everything okay?
Everything's great. I just need to find you, Mark Zuckerberg.
Stanford. In California. In Massachusetts and California.
He's 100 years older than the country.
This
It's
is the course of
Canada.
what? Like,
So do be careful.
We're sitting in chairs.
Yes. Very good. You can go in now.
That's their own stupidity. I should have been there. Well, darkness is the absence of light, and the stupidity of that instance was the absence of me. Catherine, I've got students in my office now. Students. Undergrads. don't know. From the looks of it, they want to sell me a Brooks Brothers franchise. Oh. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Cameron Winklevoss. This is my brother, Ty.
And you're here because either of you can answer.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you were reading the letter.
I read the letter.
Well, we came up with an idea for a website called Harvard Connection. We've since changed the name to Connect to You. And Mark Zuckerberg stole that idea.
I understand. And I'm asking what you want me to do about it.
Well, sir, in the Harvard Student Handbook, which is distributed to each freshman under the heading Standards of Conduct in the Harvard Community.
I'm like, wait, even this guy's like, wait, you people actually read that shit?
Members in this community. Students are required to respect public and private ownership and instances of theft, misappropriation,
And
Yes, sir.
punch me in the face. Go ahead.
Face, are you kidding me? Wow.
unauthorized use will result in
In order to win,
disciplinary action,
a little bit like that. Like, again,
You
examples
memorize that
were
instead of doing what?
so far
What my
beyond
brother
the point
and
of
I
actually
came
register.
here today to ask of you, respect
Is they could have
against university rules to steal from another student, plain and simple.
You've spoken to your housemaster.
Yes, sir. And the housemaster made a recommendation to the ad board, but the ad board won't see
Have you
it.
tried dealing with the other student directly?
Mr. Zuckerberg hasn't been responding to any of our emails or phone calls for the last 2 weeks. He doesn't answer when we knock on his door at Kirkland, and the closest I've come to dealing with him face to face is when I saw him on the quad and chased him through Harvard Square.
Chased him.
I saw him, and I know he saw me. I went after him, and then he disappeared.
I don't see this as a university issue.
Of course, this is a university issue. There's a code of ethics and an honor code, and he violated them
You
both.
enter into a code of ethics with the university, not with each other.
I'm sorry, President Summers, but what you just said makes no sense to me at all.
I'm devastated by that.
What my brother means is, if Mark Zuckerberg walked into our dorm room and stole our computer, that would be a university
I
issue.
really don't know. This office doesn't handle petty larceny.
This isn't petty larceny. This idea is potentially worth millions of dollars.
Millions.
Yes.
Might just be letting your imaginations run away with you.
Sir, I honestly don't think you're in any position to make that call.
I was the U.S. Treasury Secretary. I'm in some position to make that call.
Letting our imaginations run away with us is exactly what we were told to do in your freshman address.
And I would suggest that you let your imaginations run away with you on a new project.
You would?
Yes, everyone at Harvard's inventing something. Harvard undergraduates believe that inventing a job is better than finding a job. So I'll suggest again that the two of you come up with a new project.
I'm sorry, sir, but that's not the point.
Please, arrive at the point.
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
You're saying that I don't.
Of course I'm not saying that, sir. I'm saying that.
Really?
Sir.
And how did they get this appointment?
Colleagues of their father.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Winklevoss, since you're on the subject of right and wrong. This action, this meeting, the two of you being here is wrong. It's not worthy of Harvard. It's not what Harvard saw in you. You don't get special treatment.
We never asked for it. Just start another project?
If you
like we're making a diorama for a science
If you have
fair?
a problem with that, Mr. Winklevoss,
Never asked for special
the courts are always at your disposal. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Harvard saw in you.
Whoops.
Eduardo, spring break, you and Mr. Zuckerberg took a trip to New York.
Yes.
What was the purpose of the trip?
Well, as CFO, I had to set up some meetings with potential advertisers.
Who paid for the trip?
It was paid for at the $1,000 account I had set up a few months earlier.
At this point, your $1,000 was the only money that had been put into the company.
Yes.
How did you feel the meetings went?
It went terribly.
Why?
Mark was asleep. I was not asleep. Can I rephrase my answer? I wish he'd been asleep. So we're at 29 schools now, with over 75,000 members. People who go on the Facebook tend to stay on longer than almost any other website. Now, here's the most impressive statistic. 91% of people who try it once will come back. Now, if you allow me...
These people would set up decision making. It's not like a tisk. It wasn't a tisk.
That's Aaron Sorkin. That's the writer of the movie.
Look at the models.
That's cool.
Almost
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Also creator of The West Wing, one of the greatest shows ever made.
One more meeting scheduled for the New York trip.
Ben co-wrote Moneyball, and directed Molly's Disaster. That guy is one of the greats, one of my inspiration. If I could ever write a script that's half as good as one of these guys' script, I will consider my dreams accomplished.
Are you going to talk about abs again?
Unless you're the ballet theater of Hartford, the purpose of a business is to make a profit.
It isn't a business yet.
So that's tough for me, because my job...
Never mind. He's 25 minutes late. He's had the Napster when he was 19. He can be late. He's not a god. What is he? He's 25 minutes late.
I think we're just jealous.
Oh, I fucking love this team so much.
I was nervous.
Why?
Well, I didn't know him at all, but I had done a search and I'd asked around, and he struck me as kind of a wild card.
What?
Yeah. Well, the open like as you we're trying to do this now. You're 26. I'm 23 in August. This motherfucker found a Napster when he was 19.
Yeah, I'd be intimidated.
Right?
I'm with Eduardo in this one instance. That's for sure. He's also
I'm a little in between. I'm like the Red song character. Where like I both admire and hate the same.
You guys don't have anything in front of you. No. Tori, you're away.
Hey, baby boy.
Can you bring out some things? The lacquered pork with that ginger confit, tuna tartare, and the lobster claws. That'll get us started. Christy, what do you like to drink?
And again, just another example, like classic Hollywood filmmaking, you don't even realize it. The way the score picks up, like you're immediately entranced by this guy. The minute he walks out, you don't even realize it.
The question was, what did you talk about?
the score is like a character in and of itself.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you.
And I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend my 20s as a professional defendant. Who knew the music industry doesn't have a
It's almost like it's all original sound in and of itself.
The $35 million they said we owed in royalties, but I guess to them that was a little like selling a stolen.
Look at Andrew Garfield's performance right here. Like,
so we said,
you can tell, like, just these subtle facial movements, how much he fucking despises this guy.
And then he went on to his second business venture, which was an online Rolodex that he got thrown out of by Case Equity. And I wanted to do it nice this time. I put on a tie and I shined my shoes, but nobody wants to take orders from a kid. So let me tell you what happens to a 20-year-old at the top of the hot.com. I'm not a psychiatrist, but
We got that on the record.
You're not a psychiatrist, but what?
a psychiatrist would say that he was paranoid. They'll hire private detectives who follow you day and night. You're a target for high-priced escorts. I can't prove it, but I know they tap my phones. Whatever it is that's going to trip you up, you've done already. Private behavior is a relic of a time gone by. And if somehow, someway you've managed to live your life like the Dalai Lama, they'll make shit up. Because they don't want you. They want your idea. And they want you to say thank you while you, excuse me, wipe your chin and walk away. That's what happened to you. And delusional. Yes, but there'll be payback in Case. I brought down the record companies with Napster, and Case will suffer for their sins too. Sorry, you didn't bring down the record companies. They won in court. Yeah. You want to buy a Tower Records, Eduardo? And he told story after story about life in Silicon Valley, and parties at Stanford, down in LA, friends become millionaires, but mostly how Mark had to come to California. And then he cut around to the Facebook. So, tell me about your progress. Well, we're at 29 students.
Can't argue with that.
We got over 75,000 members.
No.
The last time you bought something from Tower Records, Chris?
We wanted Baylor in Texas, but Baylor.
Well, it looked pretty miserable when I was just in LA, so.
Right after, then we made a list with every school within
Any place outside of LA?
Pretty small Baylor kids were seeing their friends on our site. It's called the Little Bitcoin. That's smart, Mark. Oh, thanks. That was mine. Easy. Hey, you know what? Settle an argument for us. I say it's time to start making money from Facebook, but Mark doesn't want to advertise you.
I mean, you could tell, like, through someone like Sean can't stand Eduardo either. Like, he doesn't even acknowledge him.
Going for it. Yeah. You don't want to ruin it with ads because ads aren't cool. Exactly. It's like you're throwing the greatest party on campus and someone's saying it's got to be over by 11. That's exactly. You don't even know what the thing is yet. How big it can get, how far it can go. This is no time to take your chips down. $1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool? You. $1 billion.
Predictable but great.
Everybody up. And that's where you're headed. $1 billion valuation. Unless you take bad advice, in which case you may as well have come up with a chain of very successful yogurt shops. When you go fishing, you can catch a lot of fish, or you can catch a big fish. You ever walk into a guy's den and see a picture of him standing next to 14 trout?
No, he's holding a 3,000-pound marlin.
Yep, that's a good analogy. Okay, but we all know that marlins don't really weigh 3,000 pounds, right?
Have you seen the big ones up close?
No, I haven't, but I don't think the guy's holding a marlin the size of a Range Rover. That would be a really big fish and a very strong guy.
You might be getting away from the point.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just a fan who came to say hi.
He owned Mark after that dinner. He picked up the check, he told Mark they'd talk again soon, and he was gone. But not before he made his biggest contribution to the company.
Drop the, just Facebook. It's clean.
Hmm.
Shit.
Biggest contributions.
There's gotta be some kind of ISP record for talking. You want to end the party at 11? I'm trying to pay for the party. It won't be a party unless it's cool.
Nobody calls it the Facebook.
What do you think?
Never.
Yeah, sure, let's drop the. I meant catching the marlin instead of the 14 trout. Doesn't that sound good?
Yeah, that's how you write a
If
fucking
you're a trout.
I'm going to enter this into the record. Incorporation papers for Facebook and LLC registered in Florida. Why Florida?
It's where my family lives.
And ask the respondent to stipulate that the articles of incorporation state the ownership is follows: 65% for Mark Zuckerberg, 30% for Eduardo Saverin, and 5% for Dustin Moskowitz.
Now we stipulate
And that was April 13th, 2004.
you can mark it.
Do you have anything here?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Saverin, have you ever done anything that might be considered legitimate grounds for termination?
No.
You never did anything to embarrass the company or even seriously jeopardize it?
No.
No?
No.
Yo, and like, just to
cruelty.
put this in perspective, like,
Wait.
we're a little bit past the hour mark. How much time do you feel has gone by, Chris?
Jesus Christ.
I can't have this
Oh,
water.
come on, man. This is bullshit. This is another club playing the prank. I'd gotten into the Phoenix. I'd been accepted, and as part of my initiation, I had to, for 1 week, carry with me at all times and take care of a chicken.
They identify you as one of the founders of Facebook, Junior Eduardo Saverin. I'm not the expert, but being connected to torturing animals is probably bad for business.
I did not torture the chicken. I don't torture chickens. Are you crazy?
No, and settle down, please. I have here an article from the Crimson.
This is scathing.
956. I was having dinner in the Kirkland dining hall with Mark, and I had the chicken with me because I had to have the chicken with me at all times. This was college.
Somebody's gonna have to answer.
Oh, the fucking chicken.
And the dining hall was serving chicken for dinner, so I had to feed my chicken. So I took little pieces of chicken and I gave it to the chicken. Someone must have seen me because the next thing I knew, I was being accused of forced cannibalism. I didn't know you couldn't do that. I dealt with the various animal rights groups. I dealt with the associate dean of the college. This was all resolved.
988. Someone from the port or the fly must have reported it. For all I know, it was the Winklevosses. All right, let's just forget about it.
This is absurd. I'm being accused of animal cruelty. It's better to be accused of necrophilia.
It is better to be accused of necrophilia.
I'm gonna have to explain this to my father. I'm gonna have to explain this to everybody. What is happening on that?
I dealt with the various animal rights groups. I dealt with all of
I
this.
was to write about these 4 paintings. That's a Facebook page. Yeah. I opened it under an alias. I posted the paintings and asked people to comment. Every once in a while, I hop on and stir the pot to get a good debate going.
Mr. Zuckerberg was cheating on his final exams?
I'd rather not answer that, Gretchen.
And why not?
Because I'm not suing him for cheating on his final exam. That's not what friends do.
Well, you just told us he was cheating.
Oops. Told your lawyers I was torturing animals.
No, he didn't tell us about it at all. Our litigators are capable of finding a Crimson article. In fact, when we raised the subject with him, he defended you.
Oops.
993. We are so close.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. We're going to need more money, Warner.
Yeah, no, I agree. More service.
This thing was sucking me in.
2 interns to come to Palo Alto.
Right?
And we're going to have to pay them something.
Sorry, what?
Harry found a house for rent on a street 2 blocks from the Stanford campus. It is perfect, and it's got a pool.
When did you decide
Can't
to
take
go
your eyes off him.
When did I actually decide?
somewhere in the middle of the Shaw Park Variety Hour?
He was right. California is the place we've got to be. What's your Jed Clampett? You guys got the Beverly Hillbillies in Brazil?
Sean Brazil.
What is your problem with Sean?
He doesn't bring anything to the table. He doesn't have money. Dustin's a better programmer.
He's got connections to VCs.
We need VCs. We need advertisers, and I have connections to VCs.
They're real players.
Girl.
And as someone who's just really embarrassed the company in a bad way.
It was the Winklevosses, Mark.
Hang on. Hit refresh.
150,000
and for $150,000. Congratulations.
You don't think it was strange that he was followed by private detectives who came up with nothing enough to get him out of the company, the drugs, the girl?
We don't know that any of that's true.
Read about it.
I can read about you torturing birds. Since when does reading
They
about
don't
something...
fish! Eat other fish! The marlins and the trouts!
What's he talking about? I'm interviewing interns at 10 tomorrow night in the CS lab. Get on board with this, man. You know, I don't really know what else to say.
So young and so dumb with so much power.
All right.
Bad combination. Every time. But interesting story.
Oh, this scene is awesome. They're basically auditioning Facebook interns and how fast they can program Cobalt to work.
I'm gonna intercept all traffic over at Secure Port. They're hacking. Yeah, it's all behind a fixed firewall emulator, but here's the beauty.
You know I didn't understand anything you just said, right?
I do know that.
So what's the beauty?
Every 10th line of code written, they have to pick a shot. And hacking's supposed to be stealth, so every time the server detects an intrusion, the candidate responsible has to pick a shot. How's a program running that has a pop-up window appear simultaneously on all 5 computers while the candidate who's the window has to pick a shot? Plus every
This is the most intense and nerdy thing I've ever seen in my life. This is just hilarious. I love it.
You're right. A more relevant test might be seeing if they can keep a chicken alive for a week. That was me.
Here.
What is this?
I opened a new account, put $18,000 in it. Did I go through the summer?
Welcome to Facebook.
Yeah.
$18,000.
Crazy.
In addition to the $1,000 you'd already put up.
Yes.
A total of $19,000 now.
Yes. Hang on.
I got the same thing. May I continue? After expressing misgivings about Mr. Zuckerberg taking the company and moving it to California,
Underrated soundtrack.
why did you put $18,000 in an account for his use?
I figured we were partners. I wanted to be a team player. I figured Mark, Dustin, and the new interns could work on the site while I was generating advertiser interest in New York. But mostly I figured, how much could possibly go wrong in 3 months?
I didn't die. I know. I made it. You did. Okay. Ready? That was like an 8. That was like a 2. It was better than that. Yeah. I'm okay. You sure?
No, I didn't die.
Thanks. That's the doorbell. I didn't know we had a doorbell.
Andrew, get the door!
No, he's wired in.
He's wired in.
Andrew, I'm down. Good boy.
Oh, that guy's just chilling.
Sean, Mark, do you live here? Yeah. Do you? We were right across the street. We saw the chimney. Yeah. Is anybody here? You live? No, you live across the street.
I'm Sharon.
This is my Sharon. She lives across the street. I was helping move out. We saw the chimney. We had to send one to the pool. You came to California. Yeah. You made the right choice. Here you go. Sharon?
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were gonna.
Here you go.
No, wait.
This house and this team are great. It's exactly what it should be. I'm Sean Parker. Oh, he's wired in. That's what I'm talking about. Where's Eduardo? He got an internship in New York. Eduardo didn't come out.
Oh, tell me he didn't throw that at the camera. Oh, that would have been so funny if you threw that at the camera. Oh, here we go.
Whoa,
Number 2,
God.
best
Okay.
line of the movie. Seriously, number 2, best line of the movie right here. Although he tells that whole story, and Zuckerberg is still like, "Oh, wait, so," and then he has to explain, "Yes, they're Victoria's Secret models."
I'm CEO, bitch. I love that.
Right? Oh, dude. Here. Hard time. Taking that line from the Goonies, put it to the best use possible. Oh, bitch. Second best line in this whole movie. First line. You guys with the Facebook? With Facebook. Second line. I'm CEO, bitch. I gotta give props to the sound guys. It's like making this audio as clear as it is in a middle of a raging club.
Yeah, that scene was an achievement in audio.
Right.
Genius how they made it sound like what talking to someone at a concert sounds like, but it was so clear. Wow. This is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. This is literally a perfect movie. Like, literally no joke, like, this is like only one of like 3 or 4 movies, I want to say, from this whole past decade that I would give 5 stars to.
I can't speak to that yet as I'm, haven't seen it yet, but what I can say is that if it keeps up this pace, I'll be agreeing with you very soon.
Oh, bro, I'm telling you, every single moment you think that this movie has, where you don't think it's going to step it up, it does. Not to mention the fact that, I think the only other movies this decade that I would have given 5 stars to would be Wolf of Wall Street, Her, and Whiplash. Yeah, no, Moonlight I would still give a 4.5 to, because I still have problems with that movie. Yeah, those are probably the only 4 movies from this entire last decade that I would give 5 stars to. Reznor Russ love doing is putting their own like little technical 9-inch nails spin on classical pieces of music. They did that in Watchmen a couple times too.
Mere rollers. I've been coming to Henley for 30 years, and I've never seen a race that close. Have you? Have you seen a race that close?
No, Your Highness. Mile and a half races are more commonly won by above 92.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Brutally close.
May I introduce my teammates? This
I'm
is...
sorry. You'll have to excuse us. On to the...
So you flew all the way out here to see that?
Wouldn't have missed it, brother. How's royalty?
Oh, I just wanted to tell you a couple more times. The race was just brutally excruciating.
You guys are Chris of the country. Sorry, boys. Swing of us. No, I never apologize to losing a race like that. I never apologize
She and her friends were already talking about the race. They just see it by their computers. Website called Facebook.
Live streaming. Wow. In 2004.
Right.
Adrian French where there was such a thing.
And they have Facebook.
And apparently Oxford and the London School of Economics. That's where her friends are.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Race boys,
What up, YouTube?
It was a thing. Watch the race. So I don't see it. Stop it. Stop it, Kim. Knock it off. I don't mind that we lost the Dutch by less than a second. That was a good race, and that was a fair race. And now see, what I mind, and what you should mind, is showing up on Monday for a race that was run on Sunday. We tried talking to ourselves, we tried writing a letter, we tried the ad board, and we tried talking to the president of the university. Now I am asking you for the last time. Let's take the considerable resources at our disposal and sue him in federal court. Come on. I need a real drink. Screw it. Let's gut the friggin' nerd.
So it really begins.
Yep. But you're seeing what I'm talking about now with the nonlinear storyline.
Yeah, it's good.
Got the freaking nerd. Finally kind of acknowledging their jock persona.
Looks like the Silicon Valley set. I wonder if there's some homage in there somewhere.
Was that candy corn?
You don't hear anything, you're writing code.
Probably.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Like the table with like what's his name in the back corner? Guilfoyle?
No, yeah, but I think what you mean is that like Silicon Valley would be homaging this because Silicon Valley was 5 years after this show.
Yeah, I would assume it's influenced, right? I mean,
yeah.
At least saw it.
Like this movie was homaging Silicon Valley. Like, how that even be possible? Silicon Valley was even out yet. Oh boy. First indication. Well, sorry, the first I should say yet another indication.
What's up? Hey man, back to work. We understand. How old are they, Sean? It's not polite to ask. Sean, how old are they? Right. I've read enough. You know much I've read about you? Hey man. Wait, now I'm here at the airport. The 9:03 a.m. in New York where I just came from. You gotta see some of the new stuff from that. Hey Dustin, on the wall. Just forget the wall. Come up with a meeting I've got set up. You know Peter Thiel? Nope. No reason you should. He just runs a $2 billion hedge fund called Clarion Capital. He's setting up meetings. One best friend out here is actual agent. Why is he setting up business meetings? You've had a long flight. No, had a long wait on the tarmac at JFK, then a long wait at the passenger loading zone at SF. But in between, there was a long flight. I'm the business end of this company. He is a house guest living here rent-free on a very generous grant from the Eduardo Saverin Foundation. I heard about your big ticket advertise. Scary tuxedos, hey, man. Harvard bartending course. You're just a small step away from bagging Snooki's cookies.
He is a house guest living here rent-free on a very generous grant from the Eduardo Saverin Foundation.
Bomb hit. Internship, Christy. How's the internship? Mark, Jesus, you quit the internship. We talked about this on the phone. I quit my first day. I do.
Long hit.
Christy's crazy.
Mr. Barber is like, how old is your girl, Sean?
I got it. She's insanely jealous.
Yeah.
She's irrational.
Sean, how old is your girl?
I'm frightened of her. Still, it's nice you have a girl. I do not want that guy representing himself as part of this company. You gotta move out here, Margo. This is where it's at. You know what I just said? Connections, the energy. Mark, I'm afraid if you don't come out here, you're gonna get left behind. I need you out here. Please don't tell us.
Oh yeah, when Brenda's song just turned into a psycho out of nowhere.
It's moving fast, and Sean thinks that Sean is not part of this company. We have over 300,000 members. We're in 160 schools, including 5 in Europe.
I'm aware of that. Smart. I'm the CFO.
We need more programmers, and we need more money. And he set up the team meeting. He set up meetings all over town. Set up other meetings. Yes. Without me knowing anything about.
I'm in New York. I'm in New York riding subways 14 hours a day, trying to find
And how's
advertisers.
that going so far? If you need it left behind. Can I help you? I'd like to cancel all existing checks.
Here we go.
May I see some ID, please? Yes.
Sean, he'll be right with you.
You know, this is what I'm telling you, right? That's comforting.
Hey guys, come on back. She offered you some water?
Oh, yeah.
Must be Mark.
We
We're all paying attention.
And congratulations. We're going to start you off with a $500,000 investment. Maurice is going to talk to you about some corporate restructuring.
Fund a corporation in Delaware. Come up with a stock structure that allows for new investors.
Now, let me ask you something. Who's Eduardo Saverin?
I'm curious to know what everyone thinks about their portrayals.
It's definitely interesting.
Just because this feels so real. I never really think that.
Yeah.
When did you get back?
You scared me. I need you to knock.
When did you get back?
Yeah, when Brenda's song just turned into a psycho out of nowhere.
Chris is kind of a rough trip. And I was tired.
Yeah, or answer one of my 47 texts. Did you know I sent 47 texts?
I did, and I thought that was incredibly normal behavior.
Are you mocking me?
I brought you a present.
Why does your status say single on your Facebook page? Why does your relationship status say single on your Facebook page?
When I set up the page.
You just never bothered to change it? What?
I don't know.
Do I look stupid to you?
No.
He doesn't know how.
You're asking me to believe that
Right.
the CFO of Facebook doesn't go ahead and change his relationship
That says it all.
status on
It's a
Facebook?
little embarrassing.
Right.
You should take it as a sign of trust that I would tell you that.
Go to hell.
Take it easy.
No, you didn't change it so you could screw those Silicon Valley sluts every time you got to see
It's not
Mark.
even remotely true, and I can promise you that the Silicon Valley sluts don't care what anyone's relationship status is on Facebook. Please open your present.
Your phone does work.
Take it easy.
I had to get your attention. Do you realize that you jeopardized
reorganize the entire company. Do you realize that your actions could have permanently destroyed everything I've been working on? We have been working on. Without money, the site can't function. Okay, let me tell you the difference between Facebook and everybody else. We don't crash ever. If the servers are down for even a day, our entire reputation is irreversibly destroyed. Look, user is not friends to approve that. Even a few people leaving would reverberate through the entire user base. The users are interconnected. That is the whole point. College kids are online because their friends are online, and if one domino goes, the other dominoes go. Don't you get that? I am not going back to the Caribbean night at AE Pie.
We don't crash ever. If the servers are down, shit. Irreversibly destroyed.
Whoa! Lights the scarf on fire.
Do you want to go back to that? Hang on. It was the act of a child. It certainly was not the act of a friend. So embarrassing. I was for me to try to cash a check today. I'm not going back to that life. Maybe you were frustrated. Yeah. Maybe you were angry. I was. But I am willing to let bygones be bygones because, Margo, I've got some good news. I'm sorry. I was angry, and maybe it was childish, but I had to get your attention. Margo, I said I got some good news. What is it? Peter Thiel just made an angel investment of $500,000. What? $500,000. And he's setting us up in an office. They want to reincorporate the company. They want to meet you. They need your signature on some documents, so you got to get your ass on the first flight back to San Francisco. I need my CFO. I'm on my way. Margo. Yeah. We get it.
What a relationship.
You're right.
You going back there already?
Yes. And also, I'm breaking up with you.
Yes! Also, I'm breaking up with you.
The first ballsy move Eduardo made all film.
Oh,
The first two
oh,
stock purchase agreements allow you to buy stock in the newly reincorporated Facebook.
people talk about American Hustle being like the best third act with no actual action, all dialogue. American Hustle doesn't have shit on this movie.
And then finally a voter holding agreement.
How many shares of stock do I own?
1,328,334. That represents a 34.4% ownership share. Why the increase from the original 30%?
Because you may need to dilute it to award shares to new investors.
You didn't read the fine print. It's mistaken.
You should know that Mark has already taken his percentage from 60 down to 51.
Oh. Well, Mark doesn't care about money, and he needs to be protected.
Dustin Moskowitz owns 6.81%, Sean Parker 6.47%.
With that.
And Peter Thiel 7%. Would you like to use my opinion?
Eduardo?
Can you please repeat the question?
No, it was an outrageously leading question the first time around. Now you want us to hear it twice?
Yes, would you read it back, please?
Go ahead.
Counsel, and when you signed these documents, were you aware that you were signing your own death certificate?
No. It was insanely stupid of me not to have my own lawyers look over all. In all honesty, I thought they were my lawyers.
Counsel, and when you signed these
Your only
documents,
friend.
you were signing your own death certificate.
Yeah, no. Friend.
Okay, Eduardo, did Mr. Zuckerberg say anything to you after you signed the papers?
There was a lot of handshaking, a lot of congratulations. He'd already told me that he would be coming back to school for at least a semester. So we were saying goodbye for a while. And then before I left, he said,
But you gotta come back. Somewhere around the end of November, early December, Peter wants to throw us an amazing party when we hit 1 million members. It's gonna be out of control. You gotta come back for it.
1 million members?
Yeah.
The outer on the window of Kirkland?
Yeah.
I'm sure about this. You're 20 minutes late. You're going to walk in there and say you overslept and didn't have time to get dressed. They're going to pitch you. Case Equity is going to pitch you. They're going to beg you to take their money. You're going to nod, you're going to nod, you're going to nod. And then you're going to say, which one of you's Roth? No, not Roth. Manningham. Which one of you's Mitchell Manningham? And he'll say, I am. And then you say, Sean Parker says, fuck you. Walk out. Okay.
November, I got the email from Mark telling me to come out for the millionth member party.
What else did the email say?
It said that we had to have a business meeting. That Mark and Sean had played some kind of revenge stunt on Case Equity. And that Manningham was so impressed that he was now making an investment offer that was hard to turn down. So I went to California. I went straight to the new office. I didn't know whether to dress for the party or for the business meeting. So I kind of dressed for both. But it didn't matter.
Why not?
Because I wasn't called out there for either one.
Here we go. The coup de grace, the last, most memorable line.
Ambush. First I thought he was joking, giving me more contracts to sign. But then I started reading. What is this?
Well, as you know, we had some new investors that have come.
What is this?
Sam. Mark!
He's wired in.
Sorry?
He's wired in.
Is he?
Yes.
About now, you're still wired in? You issued $24 million.
Fun fact, David Fisher had over Andrew Garfield break over like a dozen laptops.
Shares diluted. How much were his?
What was Mr. Zuckerberg's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Mr. Moskowitz's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Sean Parker's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Peter Thiel's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
And what was your ownership share diluted down to?
0.03%.
What was Mr. Moskowitz's what was Sean Parker's ownership share diluted down to?
You signed the papers. You set me up. You're gonna blame me because you were the business head of the company and you made a bad business deal with your own company.
It's gonna be like I'm not a part of Facebook.
It won't be like you're not a part of Facebook. You're not a part of Facebook.
My name's on the masthead.
You might want to check again.
It's because I froze the account.
You think we were going to let you parade around in your ridiculous suits pretending you were running this company?
Sorry, my bras at the cleaners, along with my hoodie and my fuck you flip-flops. You pretentious douchebag.
Security's here. We'll be leaving now.
I'm not signing those papers.
We will get this signature.
Tell me this isn't about me getting into the Phoenix. I knew you did it. You planted that story about the chicken.
I didn't plant the story about the chicken. What's he talking
I
about?
have the accused of animal cruelty.
Seriously, what the hell's the chicken?
And I'll bet what you hated the most is that they identified me as a co-founder of Facebook, which I am. You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for all of it.
You all know how that works.
Hang on.
Guys, I'm coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for all of it. Boom. One Eisenberg, one Timberlake, one Garfield. Better lawyer up, asshole. I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for all of it. Tool.
That's it. That's our show for tonight, people. Look, I want to see everyone here geared up for a party. We're going to walk into that club like it's the Macy's Parade. Mackie, put it up on the big screen. We've got to almost be there. All right. What kind of rough on it? It's life in the NFL. You know you didn't have to be that rough on it. Listen, you put him together.
You didn't have to be that rough on him.
He almost killed it.
Right.
I'll send flowers.
Oof. That's some cold shit.
Ashley's a sister.
Chris, just make me one promise. That if somehow, some way, you ever end up making it bigger than me, that if you do me dirty like that, you don't do it at least in front of everyone else. You at least do a private face. That way I'm like, at least able to mentally process it a little bit better. It's like, okay, at the very least I'm not embarrassed in front of a shit ton of other people.
Yeah, I'm not
So let's face it,
selfish about my creativity, so you don't have anything to worry about.
So, if push comes to shove, you're more likely going to be the Zuckerberg in this scenario.
Nah, you sell yourself too short. But I wouldn't want to be Zuckerberg after watching this movie. Let's put it that way. Not that I liked him much to begin with. He doesn't have any real friends.
He doesn't. He literally...
And the only one he had, we just saw what happened with that.
One of the main questions that you have to ask is, like, $3 trillion worth losing your... And, like, the biggest company on the planet that arguably changed society as we know it, worth losing your only friend, your only, like, real human connection.
It's cold shit. Savage. I've said that a lot. That's like my quote of this watch through. Savage.
It is the true digitalization of real life. CD.
And then just to prove his point extra, we get this scene.
When you go to a party with a digital camera and then your friends relive.
Feels like his new BFF, Sean Parker. Not really.
It's worth finding out. Spend hours watching what people do when they log on. How they check their friends' status updates.
That's where you're for music.
Check to see which one of their friends changed their profiles, changed their photos, and mostly.
Now they're like talking about what like would eventually become Instagram and Snapchat. That's hilarious.
Stop. I think something's going on.
What's going on?
Was the music too loud? We were having a celebration.
Miss, I need you to button your blouse.
I can tell them to turn the music down. That's not mine.
Okay, we're gonna need identification. Put your hands where we can see them. You got anything else in your pocket?
Like, quick, rub that cocaine residue off your stomach.
I don't.
Hopefully cops don't smell it.
What's this? Miss?
That's mine here.
How old are you?
Of course. Go-to response. It's not mine.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have lied.
What's this?
Liar.
It's all right. It's gonna be all right. I posted Bon and I wasn't doing anything. I mean,
Missing Eduardo right about now.
Right?
Interns.
I mean, this is the only part that's like probably like 100% BS. Like the movie is expecting us to believe it's like, yeah, Mark was such a genius, he set up Sean as a way to fuck him over for embarrassing Eduardo.
An intern. It's cool.
And then like this is the only part of the movie that still like feels a little bit disingenuous because the fact that like Mark would engineer this entire thing just to like make us have some form of pity to believe that he still cared. It's like no, like the damage is already done.
One of them, somebody sent the coke in there because it got in there. You believe me? It's gonna be fun. Right. Go home, Sean.
You don't think Eduardo was involved, do you? Paranoid fuck.
to Sean?
You still own 7% of the company. All you had all day was that salad. You want to get something to eat?
I can't.
I'm not a bad guy.
I know that. When there's emotional testimony, I assume 85% of it is exaggeration.
And the other 15?
Perjury. Creation myths me to death.
What happens now?
Sigh and
Yeah, too little, too late. Plus the whole idea of
then I'll come back up to the office and start working on a settlement.
good guys, bad guys, kind of been rewritten.
Yeah. And you're gonna have to pay a little extra.
Why?
So that these guys sign a non-disclosure agreement. They say one unflattering word about you in public, you own their wife and kids.
I invented Facebook.
I'm talking about a jury. I specialize in voir dire, jury selection. What a jury sees when they look at a defendant. Clothes, hair, speaking style, likability. I've been licensed to practice law for all of 20 months, and I could get a jury to believe that you planted the story about Evanko on the chicken. Watch what else. Why weren't you at Sean's sorority party that night?
You think I'm the one that called the police?
Doesn't matter. I asked a question, now everybody's thinking about it. You've lost your jury in the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
I was drunk and angry and stupid.
And blogging. Hey, look. In the scheme of things, it's a speeding ticket. That's what Sai will tell you tomorrow.
Do you think anybody would mind if I stayed in
Oh, Chris, I got
I can't imagine.
something really funny to tell you once we're done with the stream.
Sounds good.
You're not an asshole, Mark. You're just trying so hard to be.
Right? Yeah, Rashida Jones can deliver Aaron Sorkin dialogue in David Fincher direction just like anybody else can. Or was he just always that way? It adds one, and then it's done. Society's greatest trick the devil ever pulled with the advancement of technology. Like that.
I'm curious what it's valued at now. Do you know how old Zuckerberg is?
Oh, what? Facebook or Zuckerberg? I will check that right now.
So we're gonna jump into our Black AF stream now, right? Because that's what Netflix is recommending me. So.
Right. 84. Yeah, Zuckerberg is roughly the same age as Eisenberg. He is 35 years old. He's going to be 36 on May 14th. He was born in White Plains.
Wow. Yeah, that was. It's going to be a lot to process, but it was definitely an enjoyable watch.
I honestly don't want to talk about it too much now because I want to save that for the podcast talk later on tomorrow at 2:00 evenly. We will actually be on time this time, people. So if you want to tune in for that live stream,
Well, we're not recording that live.
We're not?
No, that goes up Wednesday.
Oh yeah, duh.
But it will be up Wednesday, so you guys can catch our thoughts on it.
Yeah, bro. Fucking. I mean, did you like want to drop any thoughts on that? Like.
Yeah.
Like anything now? Like just anything. Like post reactions. Like we had a reaction during it, but like I said, this is my 4th time watching this movie. My thoughts pretty much have not changed. Like they're cemented at this point. But
so I guess it'll be interesting for the dichotomy of our episode. My initial
Come on.
reaction, it was a really, really good watch. It wasn't a great watch. I think there was a few performances that left something to be desired, but you didn't have a lot of screen time with them, specifically like Rashida Jones. I thought that it, like Contagion last week, did an amazing job of portraying the information and keeping you on pace. There's a lot being thrown at you nonstop in this film, but what Contagion didn't do, but what this did, has that character development that you want to bring you in on the emotional level. And even though it's a biopic and even though it's giving you information, it's still a movie. It's not a documentary. And I think that like there's a very specific choice people have to make when they choose to make a biopic over a documentary. And so this was a movie. And so, like I said, my initial reaction, a lot of information being thrown at you, but it wasn't overwhelming. Whereas like if Contagion was based on a true story, obviously we know it was rooted in science and it's fresh on my mind, but this didn't give me the same sort of like confusion level. And I guess I go to Contagion as well because it's from the same era. So it's just, I can see why it's held up as well. And I can see why people really like it. And I think that this is one of those movies that we're still sort of figuring out the depth of, control social media has. And so for this to be this on point 10 years ago, this is going to be that fine wine that just is priceless, the most expensive fine wine in the world as we continue to develop and grow. So those are my initial reactions. I thought it was a very enjoyable watch. To give it a star rating right now, I think is just a little irresponsible.
Save the star rating for when we actually do the review. But again, like my whole thought process, again, like I want to save like any potential thoughts that I have, any other thoughts that I have on this movie for the actual podcast episode. But my whole thought process on this, again, like in order to try and, at the risk of sounding repetitive of stuff that I've already said before, like you hit the nail on the head with like how predictive this movie was of just social media patterns and kind of like every single thought process and kind of like emotional response we would have to everything going forward in the 10 years now. Like your fine line statement that you brought up a couple times before could not be more on point than it is now, in the sense that like this movie was great when it came out and it's only gotten better. Like and that to me is the sign of like a movie classic. And this is like a movie that can stand the test of time in the sense of like every single time you watch it, not only do you get something new out of it, but it just seems to get better every time. That's something that like it's a rarity already with movies and media in general. But this like there's like one of the few exceptions from last decade to me, like a decade that was already brought down by kind of like the overall just media sensationalized audience. Like this decade was kind of different in the last couple in the sense that like every single person that would go in to watch a movie was a person that had been brought up primarily in the age of social media, and like that kind of that sense, like just that sense of every like being aware of like all those movie trends, and for this movie to kind of survive all of those like little minuscule nitpicks, it's a lot to process. So, and I'm really looking forward to actually having a fully in-depth conversation to talk about it. But
yeah. And I guess like when I say it was good not great, it's because there's a lot to process.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot to process, and it's just me knowing you as a person. Like I know that, like again, like not to throw you down a couple pegs at all, but like I know like you're a person that's like I like a lot like when a lot of information is being thrown at you. That's a very hit or miss thing, especially when it comes to you as a viewer.
I also, because we're live and we're on our show, I don't want to say anything that's gonna like be cemented in. So the safe bet is just it was good. It was
the fact of just initial thoughts. The actual we'll be recording the episode tomorrow, and the episode will go up on Wednesday. And yeah, this was great. I had fun. I'm glad we were able to do this. Continuing with the social distancing, Chris, you want to drop the follows?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are here, you found our YouTube channel, so thank you for being here. But we also have an Instagram and a Facebook, and you can find that at Talkin TV, TALKIN, no G. So head over there and find us. I got a personal. It's at Christian Evanko. It's my first and last name. Just add a TIAN to my little name dot right there, and you got it. I'm on YouTube as well. I'm starting my daily uploads starting as soon as tomorrow. I'm getting back into my YouTube channel because, like Dom said, you know, I want to come out of this quarantine with like a lot of productivity to show, not just like being able to catch up on like all 10 seasons of Stargate, like I'm seeing most people talk about. Like I want to actually have something to show for it. So head over to my YouTube channel there to just have some fun and listen to some tunes. And, you know, I'm sure, Dom, you're doing stuff on your YouTube channel as well, too, right? Why don't you, you know, before we head out of here, tell us.
I got a couple of videos in the pipeline that I'm just trying to figure out the schedule for as to how I'm going to get those out. But if you guys haven't been following me, you guys should. It's Movie Nerd Reviews across all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But, of course, the main thing should be to follow this podcast, the Talkin TV podcast, the greatest podcast that I've ever been involved with, TALKIN TV podcast. I hope you guys know how to spell podcast.
Not only do I agree because I have to, I agree because I want to, and I genuinely agree with that statement. So I get.
But you led with the fact that it's like I am legally obligated. There's a binding clause written in blood that states that I have to say that this is the best podcast I'm involved with.
It's certainly a blood clause, but like blood is important, I think. And this movie definitely has some Game of Thrones feels. So maybe that's why I'm in that mindset. And I'll save the rest for the podcast because, Dom, I think that there's something that you kind of always do a great job of doing, and I'm excited for you to.
Wait, no. Don't go to the thing that I say at the end. Like, wait, I got to drop for people that actually listen to the podcast. Anchor, which is a free distribution platform that goes out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, Google Play, Pocket Cast, not SoundCloud. Just fuck SoundCloud because they need to pay for their shit. And Chris, what was that thing that you say that like in order to like get people to subscribe to us on YouTube? Because I don't remember the exact wording.
Oh yeah, if you guys are here right now, again, thank you for being here. And while you're here, it's not going to take too much time out of your day. Please go hit that subscribe button and then scroll over to the right and you see that little bell. Turn on those notifications because we're going to be doing a lot more on this channel and we don't want you to miss it. And that's really the reason why. We just don't want you to miss it. So again, please hit the subscribe button, then turn on the notifications on that little bell and we'll be hanging out. And Dom, thank you because my brain is so tired right now. I just took in so much. Thanks for not forgetting that part.
Going over 2 hours now, and like it's like I get that it's a lot to do, but like, come on, we're uploading 3 times a week, people. We're doing the base YouTube algorithm requirements in order to try and get you guys to watch us. The least you can do is place at us. But Chris, to finish your thought that you started before I so rudely cut you off.
No, it had to happen.
You are. Watch more fucking movies, people. We out.
Is it done?
Hold on.